Hey, what's up, y'all? Happy Sunday. Cheers. It's your boy Javier. Welcome to another episode of the Analytical Eye Show. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. What you want, Mikey? My dog's right here. He wants some attention. I can't do the Mikey. No, do you? And you better not jump up here because you see all these lights and cameras and stuff up here. Do not jump up here. You better not. You can see. Yeah, sit down. Sit. There we go. Stay seated. Don't you knock over nothing. Don't bump into nothing. Don't do nothing. Sorry. My dogs are like my kids. I talk to them just like I would talk to my kids. And yo, here come his sister. If y'all want to play, y'all better go somewhere. I'm shooting a show right now. But anyway, happy Sunday, y'all. Hope y'all having a good day. This episode is entitled Portrayal of the Mirror. Mikey, really? Come on now. This episode is entitled that because we're going to just briefly talk about the history of Hollywood and how it has negatively impacted the African American community and portrayal of us. I've always thought about why our shows have ended so early, or why the arc of the shows have changed over the course of the years when it came to watching the shows like The Jeffersons and Good Times and Living Single, What's Happening, you have Moesha, you have Family Matters, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, all the good shows. Even all the way up to now, which is Blackish, you know. You had Thea, you had The Parkers, Martin, all of those shows. Now, if anybody goes back, if you notice, a lot of the shows that premiered, my nose is really itchy. A lot of these shows premiered on major networks, or networks that were created for African American television, that was televised specifically African Americans. And so they were then the show networks like WB and Aspire and all that stuff, they're gone now. The only networks I know that are still in effect are TV One, Bounce, BET, and that's about it. There's probably a couple more, but that's it. You know what I'm saying? And so Hollywood has never respected us. And like I mentioned before, Ava DuVernay, where I hope I pronounced her name right. Remember, I've always said this. I've said this many times on the show, where she said that Hollywood is on average each year, statistically, losing out on about $30 billion worth of revenue and income on African American films and projects. And so it got me to start thinking, which I've always thought this even before that comment was made. We all heard about, for example, off of Good Times, why John Amos was fired. He was fired because he went to the producers, especially the creator. His name is Norman. Is it Norman Leon? What's his damn name? Or at least the executive producer of the show. Yeah, Norman Lear. He went to the executive producer of the show and said, hey, I don't like the way we're being portrayed. Because if you always notice, every time something good happened to the Evans family, it always came at an expense of leaving the ghetto. And that never happened. James would always get a better job. James would always try to go in for the better job. And couldn't get it because he was uneducated. Okay, Thelma married a football player. He ended up getting injured. Had to stay in the ghetto. There was always something within the episodes or the course of the 6 seasons that it aired, that there were great things that happened to Evan's family, but if it came at an expense of leaving the ghetto, that could never happen. So John Amos went to producers and said, hey, why don't we show us prospering into a better life, getting out of the ghetto, getting into a better house, having more new challenges. Why do we have to be stuck in the ghetto the whole time? I don't like that. So they called him up and said, guess what, you fired. Because he didn't like that. He felt that the show should have started to show black people improving and getting into a better state. You know what I'm saying? And going into doing better, bigger and better things. And then there was always the issue with them highlighting JJ and his stupidity, although it was comedic. Instead of showing the true core values of the Evans family, they started to shine light on JJ more in regards to these things, which then caused the show to fail even more. Then Esther Rowe left at a certain point, and I always thought, why did she leave for one season and then come back for the final season? She left because the pay was not there. They were giving JJ more pay because that's what the audience loved and saw more, and then the other actors didn't get paid their worth. Then you have shows like What's Happening. The ratings were good. So they went to the production company and the network ABC. And remember, CBS was on, Good Times was on CBS. Then you had What's Happening, which was on ABC. You have an all-black cast. They went to the network and said, hey, we want more money. They said no. So guess what they did? They canceled the show. They were demanding more pay. They said, okay, we're not going to pay you, so cancel the show. And ABC is now owned by Disney. But Disney's supposed to be an equal opportunity company. Okay. Another example. Living Single. Queen Latifah, if you watch the Red Table Talk with Jada Pinkett and her daughter and mother, she stated that they wanted Queen Latifah to lose weight. And she said that ain't happening. Her and her business partner, Shakim Kapar, said that ain't happening. Here you have shows that are making good ratings. Not good ratings, excellent ratings. They're making these networks household names and stampede markers in entertainment. And they can't get the proper pay. But their image is a problem. But their image is a reflection of their reality of the people that are watching the show. But their image is a problem. So then they go off and create Friends and then cancel Living Single. For what reason? And did you also know the guy, Kyle, the guy that played Kyle, that portrayed Kyle in Living Single, was also fired. Because he was unhappy with the storylines and the pay that was given during that time. He went to the network and said, "Hey, why can't we progress the show in this aspect? Why can't we do it this aspect?" So guess what they did? They called him up and fired him too. But here we have these shows that are black shows doing better than the white shows, not only in the ratings but the views, but can't get the proper pay, proper viewership, proper respect. Give you another example. You have Different Strokes. Now read between the lines on this one. I don't know, this one, the Different Strokes I didn't know went on for 8 years. But it started at CBS, ABC, and then went on to NBC. Here's my problem that I had with Different Strokes. Why did they have a rich white man that hired a black maid that died? These kids lived in Harlem. Now he adopts the kids. And now they're supposed to be better than ever. Why every time there's a sitcom or a show created, whether by black people or by a white person, the storylines then arc into black people needing help from a white person to make it? Because that's what I saw in that show. I didn't see a genuine person coming and taking these kids and making it a better life for them. I did see that. But read between the lines. Throughout all of these sitcom shows, from Good Times to Sanford and Son to The Jeffersons to The Cosby Show, which Cosby Show was one of those shows that it really didn't even have that, but it kind of, you can see maybe they could hint that, in a sense. But excerpt The Cosby Show from this, because that's a different thing, because Bill Cosby did make a stampede moment for us and highlighting what's good about black people and stuff like that. And it talked about that type of stuff. That's what I mean in regards to us needing white people to, what's the word I'm looking for? Prevail. If that's the right word. All of these shows, sitcom shows, in the 50s and 60s and the 70s and the 80s, anytime there was anything good happening in the show, it was because a white person gave us a lending hand. We didn't go out and actually work for it. Or if we did go out and work for it and we reap the benefits, we only reap the benefits for a minute, because then after that we have to get back to our regular day life of being poor. And that's what I saw in the different strokes. Why did it have to be a rich white man coming in, scooping up these black kids, taking them into his rich penthouse? And now all of a sudden they have a better life. They get educated. They're smarter. They get to live lavishly. Why couldn't they have put a black person that position to show black people, hey, there's people out there that are doing it, that are rich just like us? Because there actually are. There are. There's black people out there that are wealthy, generational wealthy, but they don't want to talk about that. They don't want you to see that. The portrayal of the mirror. They want you to see the portrayal in the mirror of yourself, of what they see us as, and what we are always going to be known as. That N-word. These networks are still racist. There was talk about why Blackish was canceled. And the talk around it being canceled was because ABC wasn't always with Disney. Disney started buying up things because Disney is wanting to be greedy and buy up things. So they bought up Marvel, they bought Star Wars, they're buying up all this stuff. So then they decided, hey, we need a network, because they already had Disney, the Disney Channel, but they said we need an actual Stampede network. So they bought ABC. I think it was in 2014. Hey Siri, when did Disney buy ABC?
Here's an answer from Wikipedia. On August 1st, 1995, the Walt Disney Company announced its intent to acquire and merge with ABC from Capital Cities for...
There we go. They never always had ABC. They had the Disney Channel, which I think the Disney Channel may have started in the early 2000s, but they wanted to start buying up everything slowly but surely. And the major networks right now are CBS, ABC, NBC, and Fox. Now, AT&T owns Fox. Disney owns ABC. NBC is by Comcast. And then you have CBS, which is owned by Viacom. So the biggest companies are Viacom, Disney, Comcast, and AT&T. And they all have telecommunications. They all have network channels. They all are in entertainment, music side, all that stuff. These are the 4 biggest networks. And the 4 biggest companies as far as entertainment goes. And here you have a current black show that's getting wonderful ratings, even after 8 seasons. Why is it canceled? And there was talk about it being too black. And I also, if I recall correctly, Anthony Anderson stating that people were getting really offended by the show. And also the fact that there were stories that they wanted to tell that they couldn't tell. That they would write a script and then the production, the ABC, would say, no, you can't shoot that. You can't do that episode. You can't do that script. Let me explain to you how the entertainment industry works. And this same thing goes for music. Let me explain it through the music record company because it'll be easier. It's kind of the same with scripts. A record company gives an artist $5 million to make an album. That's to hire the producers they want, write the songs, produce the songs, shoot the music videos, shoot the photo shoots for the album covers and ads and all that stuff they want to do for it, and to also promote. You then have what they call royalties, where you reap a royalty check from the sales that were earned. The company fronted the money for the album, so that means they have They own the royalties. They own your album. You have a percentage of the royalties, but not 100%, and so they control it mainly. That's why it's copywritten, whatever the company's name is, whatever like that. Same thing happens. So then what happens is when you go in and you start working producers, making the songs, you have to present these songs to your record label. And if they feel that the songs are not good enough or not going to sell, they say you can't. Nope, we're not releasing that. The same thing goes when it comes to when you're working with a production company, and then your production company is producing the show or the movie, but your distributor is the major network. You then say, hey, I'm gonna write this script. Then you present it to ABC. They can scratch. No, we don't want that. That's too offensive, or it's not gonna have a lot of views on it. It's gonna make the show go down. It's gonna represent us bad. They can scratch it. Same thing goes with the music industry. If they feel it's not sell worthy based off of how their company operates or how they feel, they will scratch it. And that was what the hint, if you read between the lines, of why the show was canceled after so long. And I have to believe that. There were times where they would write episodes, the blackish writers would write episodes that were meaningful, that wanted to be told. And they couldn't get told because of how white people feel about it. Now, what I want to do is do some research on this right now with you guys to confirm this, because I swore this is what was quoted. Given our creative differences, neither ABC nor I were happy with the direction of the episode and mutually agreed not to air it. Harris told Variety at the time. A month after the clash over creative differences, Barris left ABC as Blackish co-showrunner and began a 3-year, $100 million deal with Netflix. This sounds like the same thing with Shonda Rhimes. Shonda Rhimes left ABC too and signed a $300 deal with Netflix. And let me get you the information of why So, it says this. The surprise release, a Blackish episode that ABC shelved under somewhat mysterious circumstances 2 years ago, reportedly over concerns it was too political charged, arrived on Hulu this week, perhaps more relevant than ever. The surprise release was announced Tuesday by Blackish creator Kenya Barris, who said the episode was filmed in November 2017, 1 year post-election and coming to the end of a year that left us, like many Americans, grappling with the state of our country and anxious about its future. This is from the Washington Post. Please Baby Please, which Barris co-wrote and directed, opens fittingly with the soulful voice of Sam Cooke. It's been a long, long time coming, but I know a change is going to come. The episode follows a restless night in the Johnson household as Anthony Anderson, confirms his concerns about various issues affecting the country while trying to soothe his infant son, Devante. As a storm rages outside, he reads the 2002 children's book written by filmmaker Spike Lee and his wife, produced Tanya Lewis Lee, that inspired the episode title. As Devante cries, Dre tells his son that he's also scared but not of the thunder outside. Everything's so crazy right now, Dre says. He channels his anxiety into another bedtime story for Devontae. You see what feels like a long, long time ago, but really was just a year ago. America got a new boss, Dre begins. Let's call him the Shady King. It's a thinly veiled reference to President Trump, who appears on screen in footage from his inauguration. Dre tells Devontae that he, along with comedian Dave Chappelle, tried to give the Shady King a chance, but he was even scarier than Daddy could ever imagine. So, that's just... This... I'm not going to read the whole entire article, but I'm going to skip down to... Or I guess I could. This sucker wanted to build a wall between us and our neighbors. He seemed to have private meetings with our enemies, Dre explained. And when it came to his subjects, some thought that the Shady King appeared to be out of touch with what they needed. And some people felt he cared more about trophies than his subjects. Dre's wife, Bo, Tracy Ellis Ross, is sleeping for most of the episode but cautious Dre against further scaring their son. He has his entire life to be afraid, she says, before raising her own fears about gun violence. Places that used to be safe aren't even safe anymore. In his Instagram post Monday, Barris said he asked ABC's parent company, Walt Disney Television, to consider releasing the episode after the network re-aired and promoted several Blackish episodes amid nationwide protests against racial inequality. Recognizing the importance of this moment, they listened and agreed, he wrote. Why do we have to convince you that an episode should be aired? ABC says they're for people, but they're really not. Or shall I say Disney. These companies are still acting in a racist manner. Let's just be really are racist. Because they pay us low. Angela Bassett, just last year, the year before last, is now the highest paid black woman in Hollywood. $400,000 per episode. So, Kenya Barris went on to make a post about this and commented, stating, in November 2007, we made an episode of Blackish and Tower, Please Baby Please. We were 1 year post-election and coming to the end of a year that left us, like many Americans, grappling with the state of our country and anxious about its future. Those feelings poured into the page, becoming 22 minutes of television that I was and still am incredibly proud of. Please Baby Please didn't make it to air that season, and while much has been speculated about its contents, the episode has never been seen publicly until now. I'm excited to share that Please Baby Please is now available on Hulu. Following the re-airing of Juneteenth and Hope, I asked Walt Disney Television to revisit making the episode available. Recognizing the importance of this moment, they listened and agreed. I cannot wait for everyone to finally see the episode for themselves, and, as was the case nearly 3 years ago, we hope it inspires some much-needed conversation, not only about what we were grappling with then or how it led to where we are now, but conversations about where we are wanting our country to go moving forward, and most importantly, how we can get there together. Thank you to ABC Entertainment for allowing this moment to happen. And thank you to the entire Blackish family for never shying away from tough conversations, telling stories like this possible. The question is I don't think it aired on ABC. Why did it air on Hulu? Although Disney does hold majority holdings in Hulu. This is what frustrates me. Why do we have to continually try to convince network companies things need to be told? ABC, like I've been saying, this bullshit thing about these companies wanting to be about black people, and I talked about this on the last couple of episodes about them now trying to do this whole Dove campaign about good black fathers, and Target being about us and supporting black businesses, and Walmart now trying to support black businesses and all this stuff like that. They're only doing it to be convenient. And I believe but Disney agreed to release it, not because they really wanted to, but out of convenience, so they can show that they're for us. They weren't doing it because it's truly in their heart that they feel that black people should be loved and supported and this, that, and the third. Because if so, you would have never had an issue with it being released. You would have just said, no, we actually don't have an issue. Release it. It's a good episode. We love it. Even if you don't love it, you should be like, you know what, this is the common good. This is what the 99% feels, and we should hear that. It's, quite frankly, really ridiculous. And these networks have been getting away with this forever, where their portrayal of us has caused us to look in the mirror and say, this is truly my portrayal of me. So when I look in the mirror, I say, what's the portrayal of you? And then I look at the portrayal of the mirror. That's what I mean. When I say the portrayal in the mirror, who do you see when you look in the mirror? I'm a black person in the mirror. The portrayal of the mirror. I'm in the mirror. And this is what I see. I see poverty. I see hurt. I see disgust. I see a war and violence within my own and outside my own, with my own adversaries that would preside within my own. As the United States tries to say, when I put in my oath to become a TSA agent, which is a federal officer to protect enemies, foreign and domestic. That's what I'm talking about, within my own race, foreign and domestic enemies and adversaries. That's what I see in my mirror. That's the portrayal in my mirror. And they won't allow me to see anything but that. They only allow me to see what's in my four walls. Like I said on the last season, get out of the four walls of your life. That's all they want me to see, is the four walls of my life. And that's all they want me to believe that I can abstain and contain in my life, is the four walls, the four objectives, the four parameters, the four angles, the four shapes of my life. That's all they want me to see. And that we keep fighting tooth and nail to get past that. Why? Why ABC? Why Disney? Why CBS? Why Viacom? Why NBC? Why Comcast? Why Fox? Why AT&T? Hello, these are your companies. You say you're for us, but you're really not. You're only doing it for convenience. Just be man or woman enough, have the balls or the ovaries enough to say, you know what, fuck you, black people. We don't give a damn about you. We don't want to. We only doing it for convenience. But then on the other hand, I'm supposed to be appreciative that finally it's the time that you pay attention to us. You realize you're missing out on money from us. But then on the other hand, it's like, you know what? Why do we gotta make you realize? Why do I gotta force to put myself a seat at your table when your table ain't really that important, when I should be making sure my table in my own damn house is good and sturdy enough and shined and polyurethane enough to sit at my table. We make our own money. We play our own spades and dominoes and craps and get down at my own shit and leave your ass out of it and show you that we can make it without you. But then I see the importance of wanting to make them realize we're valuable. But ain't it easier to make them realize that we're more valuable when we can do shit without them? That we can create our own sales and our own viewership and our own ratings and our own stock markets and money too? With they dollar? With they Abraham Lincoln, they George Washington, their Benjamin, their, what is it? Who's the other one? Roosevelt, right? And then there's the talk of putting Harriet Tubman on a $2 bill, which I think is great. Hell, they should replace George and put Tubman on that one, because he owned slaves. If anything, I would say they all owned slaves, if you ask me. But it's tricky because you want to be appreciative and you want to have a livelihood. But like Monique has always said, we've worried so much about the integrity. We've worried so much about the money at the expense of our integrity. And we've got so caught up in worrying about the money than our integrity. There was the integrity game before the money game. And we've been worrying too much about the money than the integrity. We got to get back to the integrity game and not the money game. That may even solve some of our inflation problems. We've gotten so lost in the money game that we can't see that our integrity isn't there anymore. And I get it. I can't. Because I'm thinking about the conversation Monique and Steve Harvey had. I can't for the life of me. I understand Steve Harvey's point. I can't for the life of me go out here and make a statement that can then cost my family their entire livelihood. But I have to disagree with that. Because then without Martin going out there and making a statement which affected his livelihood, we wouldn't be where we are today. Without Malcolm going out there making a statement and affecting his livelihood, we wouldn't be here today. Without Harriet going out there, we wouldn't do it. Without all the others, Rosa. Without I just searched up. I'm just giving you names. Without Carter G. Woodson. Without W.E.B. Du Bois, or it's Du Bois, I should say. Without Henry Louis Gates Jr. Without John W. Blassingame. Without Helen G. Edmonds, Anna J. Cooper, John Wellesley Croman. Without Pauline A. Young. Without Benjamin Arthur Quallis, Albert J. Rabatu, I believe is how you pronounce it. William Cooper Neal, John Hope Franklin, and then this gentleman name, which is a very specific name, Al Ruth's Ambush Taylor, and that's just to name a few. Frederick Douglass, Madam C.J. Walker, our worth is within ourselves, y'all. And it's shameful that legally, subconsciously, between the lines, companies are still racist. Companies are still, they talk about modern slavery. Slavery never ended. Physically, yes. But mentally, financially, emotionally, soulfully, it's still there. And that is the foundation of America. Slavery. Still to this day with inflation, pay, all that shit. As I talked about in the last episode, yesterday on the Part 4 pre-premiere. Slavery is still here, y'all. It may not be physically shackled up on us, but it's here. And like I've said on the last season, America's never going to get better. Because we're still enslaved. We're still in slavery. The world is enslaved. by the 1%. And how? That 1% has so much power? How? 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 Like, good God Almighty, that 1% is something, ain't it? Crazy. We're still in slavery. They just now have meticulously found other avenues where we can be enslaved without us physically being enslaved. They don't have to beat us to torture us. Just know that. And these are examples of how the government, major companies and corporations, your next door neighbors, your political adversaries and companions, your friends, and other people outside of the African American community, and some within, the Uncle Toms, keep us down. And we need to wake up. As the young people say, we need to get woke. I think that's the right word, unless there's something else out here now that they say. Wake up. Wake up from this sleep, yo. We're in a deep sleep. We're sleepwalking. And we need to wake up and get a grip on reality. And really start changing some things about us as black people. Seriously. Some start buying out these companies that own black companies, taking it back and putting it black and putting it black and putting it back in the right hands and make it better than ever before. That portrayal in the mirror. Okay, Mikey, really? Mikey, hey. Mikey, you ain't itching that bad. Stop making all that noise. Yeah, I'm looking at you. Come here. The portrayal of the mirror has to get better. You should be able to look at yourself in the mirror and appreciate yourself, and have an appreciating value, not a depreciating value in what you see in the mirror. And let's stop allowing these white folk, these white companies, have an effect on the portrayal in the mirror. Because I don't let it have an effect on me. I don't even think about it. Because the portrayal in the mirror, for me, when I see the portrayal in the mirror, really? Now, if that knocked over, it would have been a problem. Sit down. No, go. Get away from here. Now, why would you do that? Idiot. The portrayal that I see in the mirror. Sorry, y'all. Sometimes these dogs test me. Like, it is what it is. Anywho, the portrayal in the mirror that I see of myself is me. And it's being better than I ever was before. And the portrayal in the mirror that I want us to see is respect and gratitude and grit and understanding. Big, black, and bold. Take back that trademark that my black is beautiful from them and give it to us. Because that's owned by Procter and Gamble. Or Gamble, my bad. Which is a white company. And why should they have that trademark? They ain't black. But I'm sure somebody that was black came up with that, and now they own that slogan. I love y'all so much. Let's get it. Let's get into it. Get it together, y'all. I hope you guys have a good Sunday. I really think about what I've said these past 30-40 minutes or so. I hope you guys really listen to what I've said and take true to heart for this. So all my black investors, black entrepreneurs, black speakers, black political companions, let's get into it. There's a black app out there called what is it called? That I just came across. It's called Mira. Myra is Miiriya. I heard it's pretty good, so I want you guys to check that out. I was going to check that out. I found out about that yesterday. So check out that app. It's supposed to have it's an app for all black businesses. Now I don't know who it was created by, which I want to find out who that is. Probably a black person, but just double check. Which actually I guess I can do now. But it basically for clothes and style and restaurants and all these things. Yeah. Make sure, guys, let's look out for our own. And hold on. Sorry, y'all. Okay, he is black. Or yeah, he. But anyway, yeah, y'all. Let's get into it. Think about what I've said. Hope you guys have heard me. And let's try to start getting back to us and what we stand for and changing the narrative of our culture and the portrayal in the mirror. I love y'all so much. I hope you guys have a good day. Let me get up off here before I throw one of these dogs on camera. I hope you guys have a good day. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Javier Vassal. You can follow the show on Facebook and Instagram at The Analytical Eye Show, and on Twitter at iAnalytical. I thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys next Sunday at 12 p.m. for a new episode of the show. And don't forget to check out Light of the Sunday. I love y'all so much. Peace and love. There was one thing I was going to mention, but I can't remember. What was it? Was it something? Don't think so. If it's important, it'll come back to me, as I always say. But cheers. Have a good Sunday, y'all. See you next Sunday.